Playing with Power MTG. Powerful cards, powerful formats. Before we get into tonight's game, I wanted to ask a question. Do you have extra cards lying around that you don't use? Want to buy or trade for some extra cards but don't know how to maximize the value? Then you should try out today's sponsor, Card Conduit. Card Conduit is the best service when it comes to selling your extra cards. They have three main services. Their standard service lets you send them your unsorted cards of any value. They will sort, grade, and give you the best price for your cards. Their curated service is similar. Send them your unsorted cards worth over $1 in value. They will charge half the fee of the standard service and charge no fee per card. Their sorted service is a great value as well. Choose cards in advance with their selection tool, send them sorted to Card Conduit, and they will grade and buy list them automatically. Save yourself the time of having to send to multiple sites and let Card Conduit do it instead. Their fee is only 2% with no fee per card. So give Card Conduit a try today. If you sign up with my link in the description below or use the promo code POWER, you will also get 10% off of their fees when you use their service. A big thanks to Card Conduit for sponsoring today's video.
I am Zach. I am the Mox Ruby patron, and I will be playing Hardened Scales today. It is a deck that is focused around the card Hardened Scales to pump out +1/+1 counters on creatures and sort of present a pseudo combo finish.
Hey everyone, Matt Sperling with Playing with Power. Excited to be playing some Modern today using a deck that's not new to the channel, but a deck that I've personally never played before, and that's Temur Rhinos. This Temur Rhinos deck is looking to use the Cascade mechanic and no spells with converted mana cost lower than 3 other than the Rhino generation in order to pump out those Rhinos and then just have some free spells and other sort of utility spells that get around the restriction.
I'll kick things off. I will play a Horizon Canopy as my land for turn, and I will cast a Hardened Scales. I will pass the turn after that.
I will draw for my turn. Misty Rainforest for me, and I'm done.
Draw for turn. Urza's Saga is my land for turn. I will follow that up by casting a Hangerback Walker for X is 1. It will enter with 2 counters due to Hardened Scales. I will pass the turn.
End step, fetch puts me at 19. Ketria Triome. I'll draw for my turn. I'll shock in a Steam Vents going to 17. I'll pass the turn.
Draw for turn. Start of my main phase, my Saga will trigger and will go to Chapter 2. I'll play another Urza's Saga. Go to combat. I will attack for 2. I will pass the turn after that.
Untap, upkeep, draw for my turn. I'll play a Mutavault. I'll play a Shardless Agent, trigger Cascade. Okay. Reveal. Cast Crashing Footfalls. Okay, I'll make 2 Rhinos and pass the turn.
On the end of your turn, I will take a damage to activate my Urza's Saga. I will create a construct. Draw for turn. I have 2 triggers. I think I will take a damage and activate my Saga again. I will create another construct. This will get its 3rd chapter. I will go searching. I will grab the Ozolith. This will go to Chapter 2. I will play Sadstone Caverns as my land for turn. Pass the turn after that.
Untap, upkeep, draw. I'll shock in a Breeding Pool, I go to 13. I'll attack you with 2 Rhinos.
I'll put a Hangerback Walker in front of one, and I will declare no blocks on the other.
Okay, I'll pass.
Before damage, I would like to activate my Hangerback Walker.
I'll respond by dealing 2 damage to it with Dead.
That will resolve. My Walker will die. I have an Ozolith trigger, and I have the Walker trigger. I'll put the 2 counters onto the Ozolith. I will create 2 1/1 Thopter tokens.
Okay, and I've got 8 trample coming in.
I will go to 8.
I'll pass the turn.
Nothing in upkeep. I will draw for turn. Load a mana with there's a Saga. I will activate its Chapter 3 ability. I will grab a Zabaz the Glimmerwasp. It will enter with 2 counters on it, because that's modular 1, and I have a Hardened Scales. Play a land for turn as another Sadstone Caverns. Use the colorless I had floating and cast a Shadow Spear. I will attempt to equip Shadow Spear to a construct. I will take a point of damage going to 7 and attempt to cast a Hardened Scales. I would like to move to combat, triggering the Ozolith.
Yeah.
I will attempt to move the counters from the Ozolith to the construct that is equipped with the Shadow Spear.
Okay, I'm going to Island Cycle, Lorien Revealed. I'll get basic island. You can resolve that trigger, the counters. I'm gonna ice that big creature with the Shadow Spear on it. Tap it, draw a card. Okay, now you may declare whatever attacks you'd like to declare.
I think I will just hold things back at this point and pass the turn.
I'll draw for the turn. All right, I'll play the island. I'll ice your construct. Tap it. I draw a card. Okay, I'll attack with these.
Okay, I will put a Thopter in front of the Shardless Agent, and I will put a Zabaz and a Thopter in front of a Rhino.
I'm ready to go to damage. So 1 trample and 4 is 5 coming through.
Yep, which will put me to 2. And then I will have a bunch of triggers from Zabaz dying. So his modular ability will trigger, and the Ozolith will trigger. So I will put his 2 triggers. I'll put the 2 counters from him onto the Ozolith, and then 2 counters onto the construct, which will be seen as 4 from the 2 hiring scales. So this will go to 8 counters total.
I'll play a Murktide Regent, exiling these 5 spells, making it 8/8, and I'll pass the turn.
Draw. Here's where I gotta take a math test. Cast an Arcbound Ravager. Ravager enters with 3 counters due to the 2 hardened scales. I will tap Canopy, go into 1, and I will cast a Haywire Might. I will sacrifice Haywire Might to the Arcbound Ravager. It will get 3 counters going to 6. I will sacrifice the construct to the Ravager. It will get 3 counters going to 9. I will sacrifice the Ravager to itself. It will move 9 counters onto the Ozolith, going to 11. And then these 9 counters will move to this construct as 11 counters, putting this at 19 counters. I will go to combat, trigger the Ozolith. I will move 11 counters onto my construct. It will move as 13. So this will be at 32 counters.
I now understand why you use D20 to track.
Yep, and then I will declare it as a large attacker.
All right, I'm dead. I'll play Wooded Foothills. I'll sacrifice it, get Stomping Ground, pay 2 life, go to 17. I'll just suspend a Crashing Footfalls and pass the turn.
Untap, keep, and draw. Forest, and pass the turn.
All right, untap. I will remove a time counter from Crashing Footfalls. I hope I draw some of those cool new cards that have time travel on them. Seems unlikely, but I can hope. Draw for my turn, play a Breeding Pool tapped, and pass the turn.
I will untap, upkeep, and draw. I will play a Forest as my land for turn, past the Ozolith, the Shattered Spire.
All right, I'm going to exile a Force of Negation to a Force of Negation to go ahead and exile that spell.
I will pass the turn after that.
Upkeep, another time counter falls off the Footfalls. I will draw for my turn. I'll play a Scalding Tarn and pass the turn.
Draw. Play an Urza's Saga as my land for turn. I will cast a Patchwork Automaton, and then I will pass the turn.
In your end step, I'll sack Scalding Tarn, get a basic island with that. All right, you'll never guess what happens next, but it is Violent Outburst, trigger Cascade. The Cascade ability will start revealing. Okay, didn't have to go too deep before I could put a Crashing Footfalls onto the stack. Rhinos come in. Upkeep. It'll go down to 1 counter on the Crashing Footfalls. That's an exile. I draw for my turn. Declare my attack.
Yeah, I will declare no blocks, and I'm good to go right to damage.
I'm gonna Violent Outburst, Cascade again prior to damage.
Yep.
So I will start by cascading. Create 2 rhinos, give +1/+0 to these rhinos, put these on the bottom. So I've got 10 crashing in.
I will take 10, go to 10.
I'll pass the turn.
Draw. This will trigger getting its 2nd chapter. That is a lot of angry rhinos. I'll play a Beseju who endures. I'll play a Patchwork Automaton, triggering this one. It gets a counter. Hangerback Walker for X is 1. This will get a counter. This will get a counter. And this will enter the counter. And I'm pretty sure I'm just passing to my death. But I will pass the turn nonetheless.
Upkeep, I finally get this one off. It's going to create these last 2 round tokens that are summoning sick. Draw for my turn. I'll come in for 16 trample.
And I have exactly 6 toughness, I believe. Yeah, so I will block whatever and die.
All right, Matt Sperling here with Temur Rhinos. I'm choosing to take out 4 Force of Negation and 3 Mystical Dispute, which don't seem like the right approach to this matchup necessarily, even though Force of Negation is okay. I'm going to bring in 3 Flame of Anor, which has a little bit of artifact removal, a little bit of creature removal baked into it, a couple of Furies, maybe to clean up some small creatures, and then 2 Force of Vigor. Certainly wish I had more of that card, but I'm going to bring in the 2 that I do have.
All right, I will be taking out the 4 Patchwork Automaton. I just think they're a little slow in this matchup. It takes a while before that they can get into a position where they can really block Rhinos. There's not much utility to them. And then I'm taking out the Singleton Haywire Might, just not a lot of targets that I care about in this matchup. It's more there as an Urza Saga target. Bringing in, I have a single Chalice of the Void. Chalice on 0 stops the Cascade. It's 2 Soulless Jailer, also stops the Cascade, and 2 Dampening Sphere, just making it a little more challenging to cascade into free spells. Pendelhaven is my land for turn. We'll tap it for green, and I'll cast an Ancient Stirring. Deal a Hangerback Walker. And then that's it for me. I'll pass the turn.
Draw for my turn. Misty Rainforest and pass the turn.
We'll untap, upkeep, and draw for turn. Play an Ink Moth next, or Blink Moth, not Ink Moth. I'll cast the Ozolith. I will cast a Zabaz, and I will pass the turn.
All right, I'll go to 19 end step to fetch. My Ketria Triome tapped. Draw. Beam Vents will come in tapped, and I'll pass the turn.
Draw. I'm going to start things off by tapping for green and casting another Ancient Stirrings. We'll take an Agathis Soul's Cauldron. My land for turn will be this Urza's Saga. Go to combat. I'll swing for 1. Second main, I will cast a Hangerback Walker for X's 1.
I'm gonna evoke Subtlety, exiling Shardless Agent to make you put that on the top or bottom, your choice.
I will place it onto the bottom.
Okay.
And then I will pass the turn.
All right, untap, upkeep, draw. I'll play a Forest and pass the turn.
Draw. Chapter Trigger. Forest as my land for turn. Then I think I will just pass the turn.
End step, a Violent Outburst, trigger Cascade. Oh, top card, Crashing Footfalls.
Easy.
Sometimes it's that simple. All right, I'll untap. Draw for my turn. I'll come on in with 2 Rhinos.
I will declare no blocks. Anything before damage.
All Violent Outburst, trigger Cascade. Oh, second card down. Still simple. No shuffling. Okay. Cast Crashing. Create 2 Rhinos, and I've got 10 coming in.
Yep, I'll take 10. Go to 10.
Stomping Ground for the turn, pass the turn.
End of your turn, I'll activate the Saga, make a construct. Draw for turn. Chapter ability on the stack. I will activate this again, making another construct. I will search. I'll get a Zabaz. I have a legend rule that happens here. So I will sack the non-summoning, or I'll sack the summoning sick one.
Okay, so it enters with the counter.
It enters with a counter.
Legend rule will destroy. Yeah, okay. Gone.
I have a modular trigger and the Ozolith trigger.
Uh-huh.
So the Ozolith trigger, I will put a counter onto the Ozolith. The modular trigger, I will put 2 counters onto this Zabaz here. Timber Crown Pathway, Damping Sphere. I will move a counter from the Ozolith onto Zabaz. And then I will pass the turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna attack with everything.
Question is, do I sack my board? Do I play around shock? In order to play for the win, I can't play around the shock. Okay. I'll put a construct in front of 1 Rhino and Zabaz in front of another Rhino. I'll leave the construct back.
All right. All beside you, the construct that blocked.
Yep, that'll do it.
Trample in.
So this will die. You will trample in for lethal.
Okay.
Play a Crown Pathway on the green side. I will cast an Ancient Stirrings. We'll take a Damping Sphere. I am good to pass the turn there.
All right, I'll draw a card for my turn. I'll play Scalding Tarn and pass the turn.
Tap, keep, and draw. Pathway on the green side. Open things up with an Ancient Stirrings. I will take a Karn the Great Creator. I will cast a Hardened Scales. I will pass the turn.
All right, I'll fetch Stomping Ground, shock myself down to 17, tap the Stomping Ground to cycle the Lorien Reveal, grab a basic island into my hand, draw for my turn. I'll play that island. I'll pass the turn. During your upkeep, I'm going to ice one of your lands and draw a card.
Draw. Third Crag Crown Pathway. I'll play this one on the red side, though. I will then cast a Soulless Jailer, and then I will pass the turn.
Upkeep, draw. My land for the turn will be Wooded Foothills. I'll pass the turn.
Draw for turn. Play land for turn. I'd like to cast an Arcbound Ravager.
I'll respond by Force of Vigor, exiling Crashing Footfalls. I'll target Urza's Saga and Soulless Jailer.
Yes. Urza's Saga and Soulless Jailer will both hit the bin. Ravager will enter with 2 counters. I'll then attempt to cast a Damping Sphere.
I will target Arcbound Ravager with fire in response to Damping Sphere.
It will die. I will pass the turn after that.
End step fetch, I go to 16. I'll put Steam Vents in, tapped. Draw. Misty Rainforest will be my land for the turn. I'll pay 3 mana and exile 4 cards for this Murktide. All 4 of those cards are spells, so we'll get a 4 counter 7/7 Murktide, and I'm done.
Alright, I will untap, upkeep, and draw. Zabaz. You will enter with 2 counters. Cast a Zabaz. 2 counters, it dies. It would move 3, but it gets an extra, so it moves 4, going to 6 on here. I will pass the turn.
15 from fetching Misty Rainforest. We're gonna go grab a Breeding Pool here. Throw that into play tapped. Upkeep, draw. I'll send the Zabaz back to your hand with Otawara. My land for the turn will be Misty, and I'll attack for 7. Pass the turn.
And draw. Play an Urza Saga. And I will play a Karn the Great Creator. I will downtick this to 3 to grab a card out of my sideboard. That card will be the One Ring. That will go to my hands, and then I will pass the turn.
Upkeep, I'll go to 14. I'm gonna fetch with my Misty Forest. All right, then I'll draw for my turn. Attack you for 7. Land for the turn, Forest. I'll pass the turn.
Untap.
Upkeep. I'm gonna go ahead and ice the Urza's Saga, drawing a card.
It is iced. Draw for turn. I will downtick the Karn to 1. I'll grab this Haywire Might out of my board. Past Haywire Might. Pass the turn.
Untap. Upkeep. Draw. Mutavault land for the turn. Attack you for 7.
For damage, I will activate Haywire Might, hitting the Dampening Sphere.
I'll let that resolve.
I will gain 2, going to 8.
Oh, Violent Outburst. Trigger. So it's just lethal, right?
Yeah, it is lethal.
Okay, so we don't need to go through the motions, I don't think.
Nah.
I'll make 2 rhinos and then go ahead and deal my 8 in the air.
Yep, you got it. GG's.